Hello everyone, we will now see our next tutorial, that is meshing attribute, mesh matching or the extrusion. So all of you know that for specifying your periodic boundary condition, we need to have a matching node requirement. So we will see how to make use of matching attribute and how we can have the matching node between our source entity and a destination entity. So let's start. You can see here I have opened a simple channel part in Creo, and what we want is for the channel part we want the match node between this surface and this surface. So this front surface would act as a source entity, whereas this end surface would act as my destination entity. Now I have added some tags on these two surfaces. Maybe I'll quickly show you that as well. So I'll go in the tool parameter. After that, I'll just select surface here and I'll just select this surface in my UI. So you can see here I have added src underscore 2d, which represent my source entity. So src underscore 2d is a 2d class that I have attached or added on this surface. Similarly, if I see my this surface, then I have added test underscore 2d class on this surface. So this class would represent my destination entity. So likewise, you can add the classes on the entity which you want to represent as your source entity or as your destination entity. So this is all from the CAD modeling point of view. Let's now see some details related to abstract model file. You can see here I have opened the abstract model file in CAENexus, and I have taken this abstract model file from the scratch directory. So you can see here in this abstract model file, under this meshing tab, I can see a matching attribute specified with the help of src underscore 2d class. So this matching attribute is already specified here. Maybe I'll quickly show you how you can create this attribute. So for that, just select a class here, maybe src underscore 2d. After that, in the meshing tab, just go to create, then you can go to sources and just select the matching here. So this will create your matching attribute. I'll quickly open already created attribute and we will see what is specified here in this attribute editor. So you can see here under the model association, src underscore 2d class is specified. So the abstract entity src underscore 2d will act as a source entity, and the entity specified here against destination component will act as a destination entity. So I'll just click on show list and I can see a test underscore 2d class is specified here. So likewise, you can specify your source entity and the destination entity as per your requirement. I just close this attribute and we'll create a simulation model. So I'll just click on this icon, that is simulation model, and it will ask me for the CAD model which is to be linked. So I'll just select my channel part and I'll click on open. So this will create my simulation model. So you can see here my simulation model is now ready. Maybe I can see where my src underscore 2d class is there. So you can see this surface represents my src underscore 2d class. Similarly, if I click on test underscore 2d, then it is highlighting a corresponding geometrical entity, that is corresponding surface here in the UI. Also, we can see our matching attribute which we specified. So I'll just click on here and I can see if I'm clicking on model association, then it is highlighting a respective geometrical entity. And if I select the destination component, if I click on the highlight, then it will highlight my corresponding geometrical entity, whatever we have specified here in the destination component. So this way you can just confirm whatever attribute you have specified, whether it's getting transferred onto the correct geometrical entity or not. Let's now create the mesh. So I'll click on this icon, that is mesh model, and my meshing will happen based on the mesh attribute, whatever I have specified. So you can see here, my mesh is ready. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just keep my source and destination entities on the screen so that we can just compare it. So you can notice here, for both the surfaces, my nodes are exactly matching. So this way, whenever you want to define your periodic boundary condition, the requirement is to have the match node, and with the help of matching attribute, you can just create a mesh having your match nodes. Now, this is one case. Let's see one more case where we will use our extrusion attribute and we will see how we can have the match node between the source and the destination entity. You can see here I have opened another case in Creo. Now this assembly contains two parts, that is part 1 and part 2. And what we want is, for the part 1, we want to have the same mesh node between this surface and this surface. Similarly, for part 2, that is for this upper cube or the upper channel, we want the same mesh node between this surface and this surface. So for part 1, this surface would be my source entity and this one would be my destination entity. Similarly for part 2, this is my source entity and this one is my destination entity. So we have added the respective classes on these surfaces as well. So I'll quickly show you that also. So in the tool parameter, if I just select here surface, and if I click on this surface from part 1, then I can see the channel 1 underscore src underscore 2d. So this class is added, which will represent my source entity. Similarly, if I check on this surface, I have added channel 1 underscore test underscore 2d, which would represent my destination entity. Similarly, I can check the tags on these surfaces from part 2. So you can see here the channel 2 underscore src underscore 2d is added here. Similarly, for this surface, that is for my destination entity, I've added channel 2 underscore dest underscore 2d. So likewise, you can just specify or you can just do the tagging to represent your source as well as your destination entity. So this is from the CAD modeling point of view. Let's now see some details related to abstract model file. You can see here I have opened the abstract model file from the scribe directory, and you can notice in the meshing tab there are extrusion attributes already specified. Now this extrusion attribute will help to have more controls on the layers between your source entity and the destination entity. Maybe I'll quickly show you how to create this extrusion attribute. So just select a relation, and in the meshing tab you can just go to create, after that extrusion, and once you select the general, the attribute will get created. Maybe I'll just open the already created attribute. So you can see here in this attribute, whatever model association entity is there, that will act as your source entity. And in the destination, you can just specify the entity which you want to specify as your destination entity. After that, you can just set the necessary parameter here. Maybe you can select the size type based on your requirement. Now these options are available and this will decide how your layers will get generated between your source entity and your destination entity. You can put details like number of layers, layer size, growth ratio, and the extrusion will happen based on all these inputs. Again, you can find the more details about all these options in the meshing guide. So I'll request all of you to go through that. Similarly, there is another attribute specified with the respective source entity and the destination entity with all other details, and this will create the extrusion between the corresponding entities. With this, let's create the simulation model. So I'll just click on this icon, that is simulation model. After that, I'll just select the CAD model which is to be linked, and my simulation model will get created. You can see here our simulation model is now ready. Now we just got one warning related to extrusion attribute that the topology of source entity and the destination entity, it's different. So for this source entity, that is for this surface, the edges or the vertex count is different as compared to this surface. So this is just the warning. In case if you are facing any issue, then you can just make sure that your source and the destination entities, those are not having any geometrical issues. Let's see the extrusion attribute here. So if I click on this first attribute, then you can see here for my source entity, it is highlighting the respective geometrical entity. And if I just select my destination entity and if I just click on highlight, then you can see here it is highlighting my respective geometrical entities. So extrusion will happen between my source entity and my destination entity. Similarly, if I click on another attribute and if I click on the model association, then it is highlighting this geometrical entity. Whereas if I click on this destination entity, then it is highlighting this geometrical entity. So for this part 2, the extrusion will happen between the source and the destination entity. I'll close this attribute and we'll just start the meshing. Now the meshing will happen based on the attribute whatever you have specified here. So you can see here our mesh is completed and you can see the extrusion between source and destination entity. It happened as per the values whatever you have given in the extrusion attribute. Now with extrusion attribute, you have more control on the layers which are getting created between your source and the destination entity. So this way you can make sure that you are having the match node between your source and the destination entity. So this is all about this tutorial. If you guys are having any question or queries, then please feel free to contact at support@novusnexus.com and we'll get back to you accordingly. We will now meet in the next tutorial. Till then, have a good day. Bye.